Good evening. There's a lot of fictional crime on TV. Cops and robbers make-believe. But here on Crimewatch, it's live, it affects you, and it's the real thing. In fact, tonight's real cases, as you'll discover, have some extraordinary twists to them. But what's more important is that you could help to solve them. Here's the number. Here are the detectives who are waiting for your call. And here too, welcome to Crimewatch, is Pattie Coldwell.
But let's start straight away with a progress report from last month's programme. A woman well known to the police has been caught red-handed in possession of a beautiful new baby. She is one Sue Cook and the child is called Megan. Senior police officers said today they hope to have Miss Cook back where she belongs, in the hands of Crimewatch, next month. Well done, Sue. But back to business. Viewers' calls did exceptionally well too last month, and one gang was so frightened to see themselves on Crimewatch that they forgot to turn the TV off as they abandoned their home and fled. We've details of that and three major reconstructions. The railway compartment murder on the suburban train to Victoria. The indomitable ladies who watched helplessly as burglars ransacked their country house in Wiltshire. And an audacious armed robbery and kidnapping by gangsters dressed in joke disguises. Well, now the first of those reconstructions. 3 weeks ago, Debbie Lindsley was murdered in broad daylight on a suburban train journey to Victoria that took only 31 minutes. It was a case that made national headlines. Debbie was 26 years old and worked as a hotel receptionist in Edinburgh. She'd been visiting her parents to prepare for the wedding of her brother, Gordon. Both he and her mother helped us by taking part in this reconstruction of the events on the day of the murder.
Debbie was looking very much forward to her brother's wedding. She was very excited about it. She was looking forward to being a bridesmaid. When she went for a fitting at the beginning of March with the other two bridesmaids, she looked lovely in it.
Debbie was staying with her family for 3 days after a hotel management course in London. It was a happy time for her. There was the wedding to look forward to, and the day she was leaving home, she had a rather special date in London, en route back to her job in Edinburgh.
She'd been on this course from her hotel. Somebody there, offered her a job, so she thought she would go and have a look around the hotel just to see what it was like. So on that morning, she'd got herself dressed up nicely, and she was going to have a look around. She had a few hours to spare.
At lunchtime on the 23rd of March, she watched Neighbours.
Look, do we have to watch this rubbish?
Oh, shut up, scumbag. It's nearly over.
Look, if you want to lift to the station, we'll have to make a move soon.
Oh, all right, then.
Debbie was security conscious. She carried a rape whistle on her keyring. At about 2 o'clock, Gordon dropped her off at Pettswood railway station. It's on the Orpington to Victoria line. There are no more sightings of her after this. Police know she bought a ticket at 2:04. Her train arrived at 2:18.
She would always be aware of the dangers when she was travelling. Even with me, we would always go into an open carriage rather than a closed one. She knew the dangers of that.
But Debbie was a smoker, and on this train, one of the few smoking areas was a single compartment, so she got in. It was at the front of the second carriage. She may have seen other female passengers in it, which made her feel safe. But at some point, they may have got out. Police believe she smoked at least one cigarette, and almost certainly she started eating one of her sandwiches. At any rate, there's nothing to suggest that she was disturbed for the first part of her journey. Penge East is 5 stops from Victoria. The train arrived on time at 2:34. A witness remembers seeing a man hurriedly changing carriages.
Penge East. This is Penge East.
Another incident occurred after the train left Brixton. A French girl in the compartment next to Debbie's heard screams that lasted for about 2 minutes. She told the police she'd wanted to pull the communication cord, but was too shocked to move. When the train arrived at Victoria, the girls spotted a man with red hair walking away from near Debbie's compartment. She followed him. Eventually, she lost sight of him on the concourse. Meanwhile, the train was being checked for left luggage. Debbie had been savagely stabbed to death. There was no apparent motive for the attack. The ticket collectors at Victoria say 30 to 40 people got off that train, but so far only 26 have been accounted for. Police have now established that Debbie's attacker was injured in the struggle. A man with a cut face was seen walking away from platform 2 about 10 minutes after the train had pulled in. A little later that afternoon, in the gents' toilets at Victoria, another witness spotted a man cleaning a cut on his head. Thousands of people passed through Victoria Station that Wednesday afternoon. They could have been travelling to anywhere in the country or even abroad. Any one of them might help identify Debbie's murderer. Well, the officer in charge of the case is Detective Superintendent Alec Edwards. Now, can you just point out, we've got a model here of the train, where exactly did Debbie get on?
Yes, this is the front of the train, this is the second compartment, and this is the compartment that Debbie actually got into. Surprisingly, we haven't any witness who saw Debbie alive from the time she was dropped off by her brother until she was found dead some 30 minutes later.
And yet she was wearing very striking clothes, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. She's a good-looking girl. She was dressed in a blue jumper, blue skirt, very much like the colour you have on today, right, and with a black leather jacket over the top.
So you want anybody who saw her from that point?
Very much so.
Right. Well, let's move on to the man at Penge Station, seen changing carriages. What about him? You have a description of him, don't you?
Yes, I have. He's aged 30 years, stocky build, dirty blonde hair, scruffy, pale brown jacket. We urgently need to trace that person to eliminate him from the inquiry.
So he may not necessarily be the person you're looking for.
No, right. He may have other information for us.
Now, then we go on to Victoria Station, where there are 3 different sightings. The first one by the French girl who heard the awful screams. And do you have a description of the man she followed?
Yes. He's aged about 40, well-built, muscular rather than fat, reddish-brown hair, moustache, which followed the contour of his lips, light windsheeter and grey trousers.
And what about the second sighting? Now, that's not the same description, the man with the scratch.
No, it's not the same sighting, and we do not think they are connected. But we would urgently wish to eliminate both men from the inquiry.
But would anybody come forward if they had a scratch and they were seen on that,
Possibly.
On that day?
On that day, we had an international football match at Wembley Stadium between England and Holland. We know that there were scuffles in the area. It may well have been he was involved in one of those scuffles and is just an innocent passerby.
What about the murder weapon?
It's described as possibly a good quality kitchen knife.
And that suggests that perhaps it was premeditated?
Yes, it's unlikely that anybody would find that in a carriage. That person had it with him when he left his home that day.
And finally, the one thing that's emerged is that there's probably a lot more people on that train who you haven't actually interviewed yet.
Yes, we've analysed the witnesses' statements. Now, we now believe that there are possibly up to 20 other persons we need to trace.
They must come forward, mustn't they?
Yes, we need the assistance of anyone who can help in this inquiry.
What about this motiveless murder? I mean, it was an awful story and it hit all the headlines. A lot of people have been upset by it.
Yeah. A very savage attack, made more disturbing by the fact that it was in the middle of the day in such a public place. We need to catch that person.
And an incentive, possibly over £35,000 reward, 30,000 reward for that, of any information. Here's the number if you want to call, 01 811 8055. Or if you prefer, here's the direct line to the murder incident room, 01 434 5175. That's 01 434 5175.
Incidentally, if you are on genuine fear on a train, British Transport Police say, do. Pull the communication cord. We had, I must say, some extraordinary results after last month's programme. You may remember we showed a home video on which 2 of 3 men wanted for fraud had filmed each other, and when they fled from their rented home in Yarmouth, they rather absent-mindedly left behind the tape. Well, soon after we showed those pictures, and incidentally, if you remember, we also appealed for sightings of a diver's helmet that they might have had with them, police received a tip-off which led them from Yarmouth to the other side of the country, to a flat in Bristol. A detective told BBC Bristol what they found.
There was every indication that they'd left there at some considerable speed. The lights had been left on all night. The television was still switched on BBC One. And I suspect they'd watched the programme, seen themselves and left. They'd left their coffee, they'd left some of the baby's clothing. The baby's bottle was still in the cot.
They even found the diver's helmet, as well as documents suggesting that the men were planning another major fraud. They were mounting a big charity event at Easter weekend, ostensibly as part of ITV's telethon appeal. The event might have raised a fortune, and the police suspect the money would have been spirited away. Well, we've now obtained a better photograph of the second man. Here he is, and Crimewatch viewers also appear to have identified the third man that police are after.
You may remember a reconstruction we did last year of the murder of a jeweller in North London, Christopher Comley. Well, the programme produced a key new witness, but nothing conclusive. Then, last month, we showed a tray full of watches and jewellers' ring cases that had been recovered from a garden incinerator in South London. Well, viewers helped trace the origin of those watches, and on the 22nd of March, a man was charged with stealing them. 2 days later, the same man was charged with the murder of Christopher Comley.
There's not much report yet, though, on the 3 main reconstructions last month. On the arson attacks in Wales and Chester, North Wales police are still working their way through what they call a very encouraging response. There's little to report yet on the armed robbery in Hartlepool. In Cardiff, though, police have been overwhelmed with help on the murder of Lynette White. They now know that a Cardiff city taxi was parked outside the flat in James Street, where Lynette was killed. It was St Valentine's Day. They need to identify the driver of that cab. They still need to know who Lynette stayed with between Tuesday the 9th and that fatal Sunday the 14th of February. In Photo Call last month, we showed a snapshot taken by a security camera in a building society office at Queen's Ferry in North Wales. A viewer identified a man who was subsequently arrested, in fact next day, and he's now awaiting trial.
Well, now to Incident Desk. This month, an arson attack in Devon, the discovery of a body in Lancashire, and in Leicestershire, an attack on a man in his own car. Here are Superintendent David Hatcher and Constable Helen Phelps.
First, an arson attack at a pub in Devon that resulted in murder. Clive Biddulph was 41. He was a highly successful restaurant owner and had just taken over the Gissons, a large pub on the A38 Exeter to Plymouth Road. In the early hours of Tuesday the 1st of March, Clive's son Stafford was woken by shouts. The pub was full of thick smoke. Stafford escaped but was unable to save his father, who was overcome by fumes. The building was severely damaged, and paint stripper had been thrown over Mr. Biddulph's car, a red Volvo. On the night of the attack, a black Saab 900 Turbo, like this, was seen near the Gissons, and later parked in a secluded track, known locally as Roast Beef Lane, just under half a mile from the property. So if you think you know the whereabouts of this car, or can help us in any way, call us.
Our colleagues in Leicestershire need your help to catch a particularly dangerous car thief. On the 26th of February, Andrew Callis advertised his much-cherished silver Renault 5 Gordini Turbo for sale in the Midlands Automart. He was contacted by a man who showed interest in the car, and they agreed to meet in Ashby de la Zouch on Thursday, the 31st of March. The prospective purchaser asked for a test drive, but during the journey produced a knife, forced Andrew out of the car and stabbed him several times, severing his spinal cord and puncturing a lung. He may not walk again. It's believed the attacker travelled on the 4:20 p.m. X99 bus from Birmingham to Nottingham, but got off at Measham around 5:40 p.m, 4 miles away from the agreed rendezvous. He's described as 25 to 30 years old, 5'8" to 5'10", medium build with light brown hair. He was wearing a green waxed jacket and a dark-coloured woolen hat and was carrying a knapsack. The car with a false number plate, C320MHK, was found abandoned 18 miles away in Nuneaton a few days later. Crude attempts had been made to sand the paint down. The number plates are known to have been salvaged from a dump in Burton-on-Trent, and the front one is still missing. Call us if you saw that car between the 31st of March and the 2nd of April in the Nottingham or Birmingham area, or if you can help in any other way.
At 3 a.m. on Saturday the 19th of March, 4 men were driving home towards Great Harwood in Lancashire. They're about 3 miles from Blackburn town centre when they passed this lay-by. On the opposite side of the road, they saw something burning. At first, they thought it was a tailor's dummy, but as they got close, they realised that it was a person. They managed to drag the body away from the flames, but the man was already dead. Lancashire police arranged for an expert to make a sculpture of the man's head in the hope that someone might be able to identify him. He's believed to be Southeast Asian, possibly Vietnamese, about 25 years old, 5'6" tall and weighing between 11 and 11.5 stone. We're also anxious to trace any car seen near to the area where the body was found. Have another look at this model. If you recognise the face, or if you were driving in the area that night and have not already contacted the local police, call us now.
Since the 10th of February, conmen have been using forged Gateway Building Society cheques like these to buy expensive cars and electrical goods, which they then sell. They're different from the genuine cheques in that the forgeries are printed on pink paper, whereas the real ones are on white paper and have these duller pink NatWest logos running through them. The forged cheques have been used in Bedford, Coventry, Ipswich and in Burridge, Hampshire, where a red Mercedes like this was bought. It's an unusual type, a Lorenza conversion, registration number C777YOT. A man described as a young Paul Nicholas lookalike comes to buy the cars once they've been advertised. He's been seen with 2 other men in a new brown Astra like this. So call us if you can help in any way. And if you're offered any cheques made out from building societies, never take them at face value by parting with expensive goods. Treat them with the same caution you would any cheque.
And here's the number, 01811 8055. That's 01811 8055.
As I hope you can see behind me, the calls are already coming in thick and fast, and we're getting some remarkably good quality calls already, particularly on the Deborah Lindsley murder. We've had 2 people ringing in saying that they were on the train on which Deborah travelled. That's the 216 from Orpington to Victoria, Wednesday, 23rd of March. If you were on that train, please do call us. We've also had several people ringing in to say that they too saw a suspicious man at the right time at Victoria Station. Now, it's not often that victims of crime, assuming the crime is not murder, feel that they're up to taking part in Crimewatch reconstructions. In this case, though, it was the victim's own suggestion. Think back, if you will, to Saturday the 26th of March. It was the night that the clocks went forward. The place is Conholt Park, a private country house on the Wiltshire-Hampshire border, not far from Andover. Conholt Park is a 2,000-acre farm estate. It's been owned and managed for almost half a century by 89-year-old Henrietta Gaskell, helped by her secretary and companion for the last 10 years, 67-year-old Marjorie Mills.
Get some help with the harvest this time.
The 2 of them run the place with great precision, supervising a substantial farm staff. Their daily schedule always finishes with a strict security routine.
First of all, we lock the front door of the house, and then when coming inside, we lock the inner doors, our inner defence, very thoroughly. Take out the keys.
So we went upstairs to our rooms, and I went to bed. Well, good night, Margaret.
Good night, Miss Gaskell. There, off to bed. Sleep well. I read until quite late that night. until 11:20 old time. Then I put my clock forward and went to sleep. In the early hours of the morning, I woke up feeling that I'd heard a noise from the hall downstairs.
Oh, no.
I found the house was blacked out. Got up to investigate. Went and leant over the banisters and could see lights moving about down below.
Oh.
I swept down the stairs, shining my torch on the raiders. They turned to face me as they went through the middle door, and I caught sight of the face of one of them very, very clearly. I rushed to the middle door and bolted it. Came back to find out about the telephone and the lights. The trip switch wouldn't work. The telephone was done in. I went upstairs to wake Miss Gaskell. Miss Gaskell, wake up, we've got intruders.
Heavens, where's my dressing gown? So I then came downstairs.
I think back on, Miss Gaskell.
Good. I heard Miss Mills fall. Oh, don't hurt her, please.
I won't struggle, but take care of Miss Gaskell. She's got a weak heart.
Now do as you're told and you won't get hurt.
I tried to feel whether there was a button or anything on his coat I could tear off. But I once read something that somebody had been convicted because they'd lost a button off a coat.
I was dragged across the floor to the staircase and handcuffed to Miss Gaskell.
Come on.
She was then given a chair, and there we were, pinioned together through the staircase. Well, I was very angry at first, but calmed down. I hope you appreciate the fact that we're not having hysterics.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do you want a cushion down there?
No, thank you.
Oh, suit yourself.
Bruno pottered downstairs about this time. I grabbed his collar and made him sit at our feet, which was very comforting, of course, because he growled if the men came too near.
Would you like a drink? A whiskey?
No, thank you. I don't care for whiskey. But I wouldn't mind a gin and tonic.
Gin. How about you?
I don't drink. May I have a glass of water?
Coming up.
Well, I thought if we were going to be there all night, it would be a good thing to have a glass of plain water. She then gave me the rest of the tonic water.
There you go.
Thank you.
Here's yours.
Thank you.
Right, come on, ladies. Tell us where the key to the safe is.
I don't know where it is.
If you don't tell us, we'll kill the dog.
And then us?
Come on, where is it?
Come on.
All right, I think it's in my handbag upstairs. When the men went down to the safe, I thought, well, now they'll clean the whole thing out. And then I remembered my watch and rings and thought, I'm not going to let them have those. So I took them off and pushed them under the carpet.
For the next hour, we saw the men coming and going, upstairs and downstairs, looking for things to take.
What time does the milk come?
It doesn't come. No one comes on Sunday. If you leave us tied up here, we shall not be found till Monday morning. They left, we think, about 5:30. And then, after a short time, we realised that the house was empty again.
By sheer good fortune, there was a file in a toolbox right under the stairs, though it was useless on the handcuffs.
But then we decided to file through the banister stanchion. And this we did, with some success eventually. But it took a very long time. We're through. We're free.
Good, not from each other.
It had taken them 4 hours. Their next problem was to attract attention.
No, it's dead.
By this time, it was 10:30 on Sunday morning.
And together we walked through the kitchen onto the steps of the garden and rang the bell loudly to call attention.
Eventually, the two of them were discovered by the game. This is an artist's impression of one of the intruders. Remember, they had Irish accents, so of course they might have been putting them on. Miss Gaskell was terribly underinsured, like so many of us turn out to be when these robberies happen. In fact, the last valuation she had done was in the early 1960s. Even then, the property that's been stolen was worth over £30,000. It must be worth a fortune now. Have you seen any of her possessions? The thieves took a whole canteen of 18th century silver cutlery, 154 pieces in all. They were all like this, and they carried the family crest, which is an oak tree. They also had Carpe Diem written on some of them, and they tended to be wrapped in napkins with this monogram on it, EAW. You'll see that oak tree rather better, that crest, in a mahogany hall chair, very similar to this one. This entire Dresden dinner service was among many items that the thieves carefully packed into a Fortnum & Mason's hamper, wrapping each piece again in a monogram napkin. This clock is described as an inlaid rosewood mantel clock. These gilded Meissen vases also went. There's a reward up to £10,000 for information leading to the recovery of the property. Do call us, please, if you can help. The number here, 01811 8055. And the Wiltshire Police are on devices 77311. That's 0380 77311.
Now, this has turned up as a result of last month's programme. A viewer told police he'd found it at Twickenham Station in Middlesex on the morning of Monday the 8th of February. With it was a CD player and a cassette radio. Now, he'd already sold part of the contents before he saw our incident desk, and then it occurred to him that maybe they'd been stolen from the home of John Lawrence, who'd been beaten to death at his flat in Isleworth on the Sunday morning. Well, indeed they had, and the witness has been praised for coming forward. But can you fill in the rest of the story? Call us if you've seen anyone with this bag near Twickenham Station on the night of Sunday the 7th of February. And there's been a major development in the investigation into the murder of Linda Hunter. Last weekend, Linda's husband, Andrew Hunter, was charged with the murder.
Now to photo call. People caught in the act on film or on video. See if there's anyone here that you know. Here again are Superintendent David Hatcher and Constable Helen Phelps.
In December 1986, this man walked into a London jeweller's and asked about the value of an unusual Rolex watch like this. A similar one with a blue face was stolen from a house in Romford, where a man was murdered earlier that month, and it carried these serial numbers. It's worth at least £7,000. Look at the man again. He's about 30 to 35, 5'10", with brown hair and a strong London accent. It could be that his inquiry was completely unconnected. On the other hand, he could help us solve a murder, so ring us if you know him.
This man may be able to provide important information about a fraud that ran in Yorkshire last year. In early 1986, brochures like these appeared offering holiday cottages around the country. Oak Leisure was based in Leeds, but the company abandoned its offices and more than 1,900 would-be holidaymakers lost their deposits. The man is described as about 40, 6 foot 2 inches tall, thin and gangly. He has a distinctive squint and is known by friends as Dingo.
And can you help us put a name to this face? She might have information about a burglary at this house in Astwood Bank near Redditch last February. £20,000 worth of property was stolen, including 23 Barclays Bank euro cheques. On the 22nd of July, the woman using a British visitor's passport cashed them all for £3,000 in Mallorca. She's aged about 23 and has used the name Sheila Ann Rapila. If you know her, call us now.
And lastly, at approximately 3 p.m. on Tuesday the 29th of September, this man tried to obtain a large amount of money by deception from Barclays Bank, Wensfield, Wolverhampton. A cashier at the bank became suspicious when he noticed that the photo in the passport, bought in as proof of identity, was loose. The man fled empty-handed, but left the photo behind. He's described as 5'5", very slim and has a Cockney accent. Ring us now if you know him, or if you recognise any of our photo call faces.
The familiar number, here it is, 01811 8055. Once again, 01811 8055. Just time for an update on one of the incident desks. Calls already coming in. 2 callers have recorded sightings of the red Mercedes bought with the forged gateway checks. 2 sightings of the Mercedes. And on the Debbie Lindsley murder, now a total of 4 people, all leaving their names and addresses, have rung to say that they were on that train on which Debbie was murdered. So thank you for those calls. Nick.
Our next case is dramatic and at the same time absurd. It involves men in silly disguises and a family who've been so terrorised that they're now frightened to be in their own home. As you'll have gathered from watching Crimewatch, attacks on security vans have been increasing. There have been several hundred attempted robberies so far this year. Armed daylight robbery is bad enough, but now one gang has gone even further. What you're about to see is, of course, a faithful reenactment, but we've changed the identities of the victims so that they won't become even more frightened. It's 9 o'clock at night on Tuesday, the 1st of March, at the home of a security guard in Brockley, which is in southeast London.
And overtired, overwhelmed, and over here, Eddie and his agent hit town. Ireland's Prime Minister says London's explanation of the mechanism...
Do you want a biscuit, love?
No, thanks, love. All right, love, I'll get it.
Who's there?
It's the police. We come about Mr. Stanley Wilson's car.
Please come about your car.
What? Right, get in the living room. Get in there! Get in there and shut up! What's it? Get over there! Now sit down and shut up!
We haven't got anything here.
We don't want anything of yours. Now, we've been watching you for some time. We know you work for Security Express, and tomorrow you're going to do a job for us. The boss is coming here at 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's going to take your wife for a little ride in the countryside.
Oh, no!
Now just keep quiet. And then later on, we're going to take you to your depot, and you're going to persuade your 2 mates to drive the van with the money to us.
Oh, suppose I can't.
Oh, no. No.
They won't do it.
You'll persuade them, else you won't see her again.
You can't do anything to her.
Look, just be quiet. Just sit here and relax, and we'll wait till 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's all right, love. It's all right.
Must be the boss.
You will do what they say, won't you, love?
Yeah, don't worry, love. Be all right.
OK, there've been no problem, have they?
No, no problem, Gov.
We're professionals, right? I'm going to take your wife out for a drive in the country, right? I don't want no problems, and you'll get her back. I don't want no heroics. I don't want no police informed or whatever. Remember, I've got your wife. You got that?
Yeah.
I don't want any problems. Just put this on.
Do I have to?
Just for a little while.
It's 7 o'clock. Stan was taken to his own car, which they'd brought out from his garage. He was driven 5 miles to the Security Express depot where he worked. This is Neat Street in Burgess Park. It's a busy shortcut from the Elephant and Castle to Peckham. They waited here for 15 minutes, the gunmen still wearing their joke outfits. The guard was late for work when they reached Balfour Street near Security Express.
Right, you can go now. You know what to do. If anything goes wrong, I'll shoot you.
The guard was instructed to wait outside the depot. The robbers plainly didn't want to lose sight of him for longer than was necessary.
Come on, hurry up, you're late, get in the back, quick!
When he told his crew what had happened, they agreed to drive straight to the rendezvous. About a mile away is Lambeth Hospital Nurses' Home, where the guard's car was later found abandoned. It's believed the robbers switched here to a motorbike. The Union Jack pub is on a corner of Union Street in Southwark. The guards had been ordered to wait here for further instructions.
Have you seen anything? Nothing. See one.
As he passed the maroon Sierra, he seemed to signal to the driver. The motorcyclists led the van about 4 miles down the Old Kent Road. Down towards the back of Millwall football ground is the car park of a block of flats. The Bedford was seen waiting here from about 20 to 9 that morning.
Where the hell are they? Can you see them coming yet?
Pat heard passers-by.
Can you see Jennifer? Tell her to hurry up. All right.
Shortly after 9:15, the security van arrived at Ilderton Road and headed towards the deserted site behind the football ground. The white Bedford van followed.
Go on, get out of the van! Get on there! Look, move it! Move it! How are you, sir? Get on this and run it! Get on it! Move it! Come on! Move it!
While the money was being taken, a lookout found 2 gardeners working nearby.
Get out! Run! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get your face down, you'll be all right, okay?
Got everything!
It's empty, that's a lot.
Get out! Get out!
Ah, where's my wife? Where's my wife? Where's my wife? You see my wife? Oh.
Okay, I'll take that off now. Come on.
You two, stay down!
The gang got away with £750,000.
Let's remind ourselves that in a similar, though unconnected crime today, a police officer was shot dead. Sergeant Stratford, actually, in this case, we've got a very good description of one of the bandits there.
Yes, we have. He's aged 30 to 35, height 5'8", stocky build, brown eyes, with dark brown, almost black hair, and he was wearing a black, well-trimmed beard.
Now, that precise definition comes from a marvellous witness, someone who thought that these people looked suspicious and bothered to take down lots of details, including, I gather, details about the white Bedford van.
That is correct. He also took down the number of the white Bedford van. It's UHJ934W.
OK, if you know where that van is or where it's been, please call us. What about the motorbike which led the van?
The motorbike we have recovered, that is RGX629X. That was purchased on Monday, the 29th of February, from a shop in Streatham. That was found in Clifton Way, Peckham, sometime after the robbery.
You want to know who dumped it there, presumably. It's a very odd one. Look, that suspension looks rather odd. It's black and yellow, which must be rather unusual.
That is, and it's a Yamaha special.
How is the family?
The family are very shocked and still very frightened, as much they're not even able to go back to their own home.
Well, if you can help crack this one, please do. It has, incidentally, one of the biggest rewards ever offered in this country, £75,000. Here's the number to call, 018118055. If that's busy, you can call the flying squad direct on 012302061. That's 012302061.
Now, we know it can be frustrating if the lines are busy, which they have been very tonight, but please do keep trying. You'll find a list of local numbers on CFAX on page 186, and you can always write to us. It's Crimewatch, BBC TV, London W12 8QT.
It looks like we'll have a lot to report when we're back with Crimewatch Update at 11:40. We'll have more news yet on Open Air tomorrow. The calls here, as I say, have been very encouraging tonight. With your help, the detectives here are already on their way to solving several of these crimes, so don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.